It's time for public comment. And if y'all would, if you want to comment on this item, can you like line up on the sides if there's that many people who want to comment? And we'll take from either side public comments. And then we'll get back. Zoom that. Can we go?
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to speak with you. I'd first like to inquire, am I going to be limited to the 3 minutes? It appears that I am, and I would object on due process and equal protection of the law grounds. The proponents of this project were given an unlimited amount of time to speak. I don't think it's fair that others would only be given 3 minutes. I have a very short time, and I've obviously already given you my letter, and I assume that most of you, and perhaps all of you, have already viewed or read my thoughts on this matter. Tonight I'd like to just focus on a few matters, and I think that not only because of time, but just to emphasize how important they are. Under Health and Safety Code Section 11570 and the following statutes, it is just flat illegal to create a drug property. That statute says that any property where the sale of drugs and the use of drugs and the giving away of drugs occurs is a nuisance. It doesn't say can be considered a nuisance under a weighing of factors. It just flat says that it is a nuisance, says that it shall be enjoined, says that it shall be prevented, and that damages shall be awarded. And here, they can tell these people to agree to not use drugs all they want. But as we all know, an extremely high percentage of them are drug and alcohol abusers. They can no more abide by such an agreement. Well, I'll just leave it at that. I mean, it's just too plain for argument. They'll tell you anything they want to come there and get whatever it is they want to give from you. But they aren't just going to be able to go like that, oh, I don't use drugs. And even if you run that site perfectly, they're just going to, it's not a concentration camp. They're going to be allowed to leave, and they're going to flow out into that community, and there will be major drug activity. There will be all the problems in that community that your police chief has so well articulated goes on at the Palco Marsh. Those same things will be brought to this community. Real estate agents and brokers have a saying when it comes to real property, and they say it's all about location, location, location. This is not the right location. This may be a good project in the right place, but this isn't it. And the sex offenders, the FBI statistics show that they're recidivists by nature. I don't care if there's some already there. To concentrate them in one location is grossly unfair to the people that have to live and work in that community. And finally, I'd like to add this. The people that have to live and work in that area, that own businesses in that area, property in that area, they deserve better from their city. I know you're well-intentioned. I respect this city, but the reality is if you go forward with this, you will knowingly and intentionally be creating a drug property that will harm them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Bruce Dewsbury. I'm a business owner at 4th and Commercial. Not quite in visual contact with the 3rd Street property, but pretty close to it. I'm not really going to spend time talking about what I think of the program. I've got an extensive background personally in dealing with adjudicated juveniles, so I've dealt with a lot of crime and a lot of drugs in a prior lifetime. My concern here has been I've never been notified of anything. I didn't know about the meeting that was held today either. My property owner came in and informed me of this. So it's the process that bothers me more than anything, and I sense a lot of rushing here. And my own experience is when you rush to get something done like this, it's not going to serve anybody as well as it might otherwise. The rush is coming from a rather precipitous decision by the city to get everyone out of the Palco Marsh. Now, I'm one of the crazy people that over the last few years has actually been running from the Del Norte Bridge down to the mall, right along all of that, tents and everything piled high, it doesn't matter. I don't see the need to have that trail built right now in terms of it creating this sudden need to do something. I don't understand what the big rush is. It hasn't been here for the 11 years I've lived in Eureka, and I don't see that another summer is going to make any difference unless there's something I don't know about, maybe a use it or lose it funding opportunity or something. I question the process. I think it's too much of a hurry. I don't think it's going to serve the homeless well in the long run, especially in terms of all of these supportive services and the trying to actually help them, not just house them. That takes more time to put into place, and I think that should be in place before the vote is made to start this. And by the way, this is a proposal tonight, but I see 7 containers down there in various states of conversion. It's kind of like, let's do it anyway and ask for forgiveness later. Again, there's a big hurry, and I'm just a little concerned about the big rush here. Let's leave them in the Palco Marsh for now, and let's take a little more time. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Lisa Pulver, and I own with another family member property at 17 West 2nd Street. It was formerly 7-Up Bottling Company, started by our grandfather. We all worked there and have a very great history there. And we want to see that area of our city continue to do well in the business realm. My concerns about, I think I need to say, first of all, there's a lot of good things happening here. Choosing a timeline, a date. This has been going on for years and years and years, and it's time. I commend the council for doing that. I also commend the city for asking for proposals from the rest of the community. This is a community issue. It isn't just law enforcement or city or county or just business. It's for all of us. Every human being deserves to have a home. I don't dispute that in any way. I'm concerned with the Humboldt Coalition for Property Rights position on this because it seems counterintuitive to their mission statement. It seems very obvious to me that they are disregarding our property rights. And I'm a little put off by that. Having said that, I want them to try. I want to see this project go forward if there's good planning involved. I'm not sure that that can happen in the amount of time that is needed. And I really don't think that it's wise to postpone the May 2nd date to get everybody out of there either. So I get that that's quite a concept to wrestle with. Some suggestions and some things that I'm asking you as our council members to look at when you negotiate with these people if you decide to do that. I would like to make sure that that all agencies involved, private sectors and public sectors, are very transparent about what their plans are, where the money is coming from, what it's getting spent on. I think people's disappointment with the ability to, or people's disappointment with not even knowing about the property owners meeting this afternoon has really set this backwards for a lot of these people who probably have very good intentions. I think they need to pay more attention to that. I think that it would be great if they made sure that they had a liaison from their agencies and their organizations to liaison with the property owners and the business owners in that area and make sure that we know who to go to with our concerns.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hello, and thanks for the opportunity to come and talk tonight. My name's Adam Dick. I'm one of the owners of Dick Tailored Chocolate. We occupy the building at 4th and A. And I, too, was not given a ton of notice about this, so I'm sorry I rushed over here after work to participate. We moved from Arcata about a year ago to that building. I feel like we kind of took a chance at that part of town, which is kind of in transition. We've worked, to get street trees put in on A. We've been approved to get street trees put in on 4th. We're really trying to improve the beauty, like what's going on down there. We have a real heart for that part of town. This feels like a little bit of a step backwards for all this work that we've been trying to do. But I think some of my larger concerns, right now, we operate from 6 in the morning to 6 at night. We've grown. We have about 16 employees. We've got people coming in at dark. We've got people leaving at dark. There's literally no parking down there, so a lot of our employees have to park on A and on 3rd, and already it's a kind of a tense situation, and I feel like we're going to just be furthering that, so I have a lot of concern for our employees. Also, we've done a lot of work to try to, bring tourists in. We do tours of our facility twice a week. We've tried to create an environment that's family friendly, and I feel concerned for just kind of the environment that's going to be created in that part of town should this go forward. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Matt Nilsson. Myself and my family own 2 adjoining commercial properties on 3rd Street, and I got to take exception as well that I was not notified. I don't know how many other property owners down in this specific area have 2 commercial properties, so not very happy with that for sure. We've owned these properties for over 40 years, and we've seen a lot of things happen. Had a lot of tenants that have come and gone as well, and a lot of things that you might not even know has happened. We get a lot of graffiti, a lot of tagging, so we're constantly painting and repainting as soon as possible because we have worked with the city police department, which is awesome, but it still happens all the time. There's other owners that don't necessarily paint or repaint, and so it gets worse for everybody else. A year ago, we had somebody cutting through a cyclone fence just to steal batteries. Well, the tenant was out those batteries, and I paid for the cost for putting in that fence repair. So we see it all the time. You guys probably have no idea. This is just one more element that's out there for more problems to come. I mean, it's just a matter of time. I do have a soft heart for these individuals. There's no doubt about that. There is a massive need. We've had it for a long time. I believe that a lot of this stuff is coming to a head right now is because of the trail and all the money that has been earmarked and the connection for the 6-mile trail throughout the waterfront in the city of Eureka. So really, it's kind of on you. This has been a long time coming, but now there's not many sands in the hourglass in the way I look at it. So you're forcing this down our neighborhood, and I'm not happy. Flat out. There's other properties here in the city of Eureka that you guys have right now. You could move those containers over there. You got city parking lots on 3rd and C Street. You can go over there. This is your own property. I know you want to have participation from the public, but this is just something really fast. I really don't like it. That's it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for letting me speak as well. I'm also a business owner in Eureka. I'm a little further away. I'm up at 2nd and F by the gazebo. I have great concerns about this as well, and the same concerns about lack of notice and speed, as well as the impact. I mean, this and the previous declaration expanding the shelters is moving all of these people into Old Town, which is our historic and financial center of town. It's where the tourists come. Myself and other business owners rely on that income, and it's already impacting the Marsh vacation is already impacting it. I can see it every day. I have people sleeping in my alcove. If they're not there, there's blood, there's urine, feces, glass. I'm worried about my employees opening the store, closing the store. I won't let my daughter outside of my store. There's been altercations with knives. It's embarrassing. And so this may be a good solution for these people. I don't know. But I'm not personally willing to put that in this location and chance that. I think if it's somewhere else, great. But to me, it's a big concern. I mean, the police are already understaffed, underpaid. I feel like they come when they can, but they can't always get there. And this, regardless of what anybody says, is going to cause more problems, and it is going to be a burden on the store owners, the residents, and the police. So I would just ask that you consider all that in looking at this proposal.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And just a reminder to speak in the microphone so everybody can hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Next person. Come on up. Yes. We're overloaded on the side.
Well, I'm short, so.
Sorry.
I've been a property owner in Old Town since 1966, which makes 50 years this year. It was an uphill battle at the time, and it's now a place that visitors that come to our community come to see and shop. The shop owners work really hard, and it's really difficult to survive out there. I'm told that the highest crime rate in the city is where the encampment has been. Do you want to bring this to Old Town, and what type of mitigation for the crime that would come with that population do you propose?
Thank you. Sorry.
Hi there. My name is Chris Ambrosini. I'm the managing partner of the Best Western Plus Humboldt Bay Inn here in Eureka. We take up the entire block between 4th and 5th Streets at Broadway. First of all, I want to recognize that I do appreciate that the city of Eureka is making an effort to address all the homelessness issues that we have here in the city. There are truly people out there that are homeless, and they do really need help, and I 100% support that. But there is a very large percentage, and it is a well-known fact, it's well documented, that a lot of these people are living this lifestyle by choice. Every day we read or hear about the theft, the vandalism, the assaults, and again, these are done by the people that are doing this by choice. It is their lifestyle. With that being said, I want you to know that I am very unhappy with the current proposal of moving basically Devil's Playground to the heart in the city of Eureka, the area that is 3rd and Commercial. That is the gateway to the waterfront. It's where if you Google the waterfront, one of the first streets that comes up is Commercial Street from the south. That is where you access the waterfront. That's where you go to the Wharfinger building. That's where they have weddings, they have meetings there, they have get-togethers. All those people that are going to these events now are going to drive right by this new Devil's Playground. Some of the other main reasons that I'm firmly against this is basically the location. I know we've talked about the location and everything. There's other locations here in Eureka that aren't as accessible as this area here. We have 30 to 40 businesses in this immediate area. In the summertime, this area is located 1 block from Highway 101, where 30 to 40,000 vehicles travel through that area every single day. And in the summer, about 50 to 60,000 travel through that area every day. And those are numbers from Caltrans. I called them and got true numbers. So that's what we have going through there. A lot of these people that are traveling through are potential guests and customers. Is it okay if I have 6 minutes instead of 3? I'm teasing. But anyway, you can see how the way I feel about it. And one of the other main things that people have brought up is the fact that no one in our area was notified. I went home this last Wednesday evening and to open the newspaper, and that's how I found out about this. So again, I think you're going to hear a lot of people opposing this, and I hope you do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. My name's Christy. I'm representing Hakeem Wiley and Ashley Cozy down at Dream Athletics Tumble Cheer. We have over 50 plus athletes that have been coming to us since July. And we just found out about this. We have little girls aging 3 up to 18. They're actually down south right now at a competition weekend that they're finishing up. So I'm going to read something. We are located at 69 West 3rd Street, and we've been informed that a housing unit for the homeless will be located right across the street from us. This poses a great concern to our athletes and families at Dream Athletics. We've already had problems with the homeless in the area. An athlete even was in a confrontation with a gentleman with a knife. He showed this little girl in the parking lot last week. Scared her to death. The parent was absolutely really upset and afraid being down there. And we also heard that potential sex offenders and drug users will be in the area. And that puts myself and my daughter and my fellow athletes and family in danger down there. My friend has waited a very long time to get this dream going for Eureka, to bring back in competition cheer and teach tumbling classes, to bring it to Eureka, because there's not a lot to do for young children around here. And I feel uncomfortable as a parent even to bring my daughter down there if this is going to be across the street. So please take that into consideration, because I don't want to have to be afraid to take my daughter to something she loves. And I don't want other parents to take their children out of an activity that is doing amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, hey, we can't do clapping or anything else here. We just need to listen to each other, okay? Come on out.
Hi, I'm Rick Breen, owner of Living Styles, and I appreciate that there's a lot of force going in to figure out a solution, because we all want the homeless to be under shelter. And I'm hearing what everybody's here. They all have valid points. I think the main thing for me is safety. And unless you have a budget for probably 10 officers 24/7, this is a no-go. That's kind of sad about the last speaker. Sorry. Anyway, the subject at my store today is let's move the store. That's what my employees are saying. In Eureka, I don't know, Fortuna maybe, McKinleyville, but anyway, I hope we can still move forward and find a way to do this the proper way, but it's not trying to throw it under the rug, because that's what's happening right now.
Good evening, Council. My name is Ken Masante. I have a residence in Cutton and a business in Eureka, and I'm here to show and voice support for the measure before you. The homeless situation is shameful and it's sad. It harms our businesses, it harms our tourism, and it hurts the heart of our community. The solution proposed is far from eloquent, and the communication to the businesses could have been a bit better. But the fact remains that these homeless individuals are going to go somewhere. And so long as this solution is temporary, so long as it's well policed and well managed and clean, I encourage you to vote in support of it and to deck out the additional necessary police to police the area as appropriate. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is John Brown. I'm approaching this from a little bit different. I'm a resident at the Wharfinger. I live on a boat down there, and I work in Old Town. I traverse the area twice a day going right past St. Vincent de Paul's, and I can tell you that the clientele there is lacking in civic responsibility, to put it mildly. I don't know how many of you have walked down there, but I'm the kind of guy that walks by and picks up garbage, and it happens all the time. I want to compliment Chief Mills. We had a big problem of homelessness down at the waterfront, and he instructed his officers to enforce the code. That's been taken care of, and now there are families actually coming down to the wharf again. So basically, with code enforcement, by people just being expected to be good citizens, then we can have a solution. But I don't see that happening. The trash and whatnot that is offered at the free facilities now by the people who frequent it, if that was a business who had that type of clientele, you guys would shut them down in a day. So I can't imagine 40 people there, just because of the amount of garbage that happens there with 20 people a day. In the last 2 weeks, we've had 3 windows broken. We've had a fight in the middle of 2 Street. And this is what's starting to happen in our community. And if you have people who do not have civic ideals, then it's just going to continue. So I don't know if the Quan program actually instills manners and civic responsibility, but if it doesn't, then I just see it being a boondoggle. So I would recommend that unless things are very carefully thought through, that you do not do this in my neighborhood. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Al Cooper, owner of Humboldt Beer down on 202 Commercial Street. I would like to say this. Betty Chin is a gem of the Redwoods. Okay? I employ 36 people, and our shifts run from anywhere from 4 in the morning to 4 the next morning, and trucks coming and going all night long. I am concerned about the people that work for me. It's tough to find people to work in Humboldt County as it is, and I've got some wonderful people, and I'm feared for their safety. I had a nice talk with the police chief today, and he reassured me that I'm thinking on the right lines, and I can always go to him. But I would really like to have you think it over before you just rubber stamp it, because it's been pretty quick. And thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hello. My name is Kathy Cook Curtis. I own and operate Parasol Arts, a retail art studio in Old Town Eureka at 2nd and 3rd. For the past 5 years, I have given clothing, food, and assisted help to the homeless from our retail shop. This includes 911 calls for 4 different people lying face down on the sidewalk. Compassion is in all of us and clearly the focus of the conversation we are having tonight. To own and operate a business in Old Town requires compassion on a daily basis for the homeless. While I continue to be compassionate, I am witnessing the slow suffocation of my community and business district. Part of my business is hosting birthday parties. Could any of you say you would bring your child or grandchild to a party where there was a body to step over? To relocate even more homeless to our business district is the deliberate decline of the very economic revenue that supports our community through property value, tourism, and retail exchange. That revenue is Old Town Eureka. My business, as well as many others, depends on a thriving historical district that attracts families, children, and tourists. I simply will not survive as a merchant in Old Town given a larger homeless population to manage. Compassion leads to solutions for everyone, not just a particular group. In conclusion, I ask, how will the homeless have long-term solutions when a business district is not able to survive to help those in need? I also ask who will help me when I no longer can remain a merchant in Old Town. I formally ask the council to consider not relocating the homeless to Old Town Eureka. Thank you.
Okay, no, please, no applause. Just listen to each other.
Hi, my name is James Wilson. I have a little bit of a cold going on here, so please forgive me. I work in Old Town. I'm an employee of Living Styles Furniture. We are on 2nd and A, so the new facility is basically catty corner to us in our alley. For the 6 months that I've worked for Living Styles, when I go out into the alley, we have some employees that park there. Our delivery trucks have to conduct business out of the back of our building. The alleyway is usually always occupied from anywhere from 1 to, I've seen about 20 homeless people that sit on a loading dock, a concrete loading dock that's in a woodworking business next to us. So these folks completely destroy the alley. There's trash back there that we have to pick up. They also use the latrine back there, so there's human excrement everywhere, and I would invite you to take a walk in the alleyway from 2nd and A, because that human excrement washes into drains that are clearly marked and say that this drains directly into Humboldt Bay. So as a citizen, that concerns me because, to my knowledge, we farm oysters out of Humboldt Bay. I know many folks get fishing licenses. They obtain fish out of Humboldt Bay, and all that ultimately washes back out into the ocean, where we also get salmon, steelhead, and other food from the sea. So just my concern is, I'm just going to keep it at this point, it's a biological concern. Some of these folks are heroin addicts, meth junkies, and we all know what type of diseases some of those folks can have from sharing needles. So if they are using the alleyway as a latrine and that's washing into the bay, I think that that should be something that would be a concern. But then we're going to put twice as many folks right there. We already have this problem that's been ongoing. So if we move even more folks down there, all we can do is do the math, and it's a pretty simple equation. So I'm glad we're having this discussion as a community, and I hope that you will take into consideration that maybe you should take a stroll down the alley and check it out for yourselves.
Thank you.
Hi. My name is Susan Hall. I am the general manager, owner-operator of Antich Automotive on 2nd Street. We're directly across the street from the Eureka Rescue Mission. I've been working there around almost 8 years now. We struggle with the homeless problem on a daily basis, and it's very difficult to run an automotive repair shop in that area of town as it is. People have options for where they want to bring their cars, and if you have the choice between walking past homeless people to drop your car off for an oil change or going somewhere that you don't have to deal with that, you're not going to go there. Antich Automotive has been in business for almost 40 years, and I'm really scared that I'm looking at the one thing that could bury us. We've had increased taxes, we've had increased insurance expenses, we're looking at paid time off, which is all great on the outside, but when you're struggling as a small business in this kind of area, changes like this could be detrimental. I bring my 17-year-old daughter to work with me, and the first time I heard about this was in the newspaper. So I'm looking at my daughter thinking, okay, so we're housing the mentally ill and the sex offenders a block away from where we're going to be working. I know there's a lot of different concerns with this project. I guess if I had to ask anything of the City Council right now, it would be just give it a little bit more time and a little bit more thought. Maybe get some of the business owners and landowners in that area involved in what you're planning on doing, because where we're working and where we're doing our day-to-day daily living, it's a different, unique environment. It's not like being just anywhere else, and we're familiar with it. We know the ins and outs of it. I wish I could say that I could count on the fact that we'll have police backup and we'll have this, but my lot was broken onto 3 times in the past week and a half. I had car batteries stolen out of cars. They cut through the chain link fence. The vandalism is crazy. They break windows, and really there's nothing that the police can do about it. Brandishing a weapon is a misdemeanor now. I just found that out 2 weeks ago. Like, people can wave a knife in your face and it's okay. So this whole project has me really scared. It has me scared for my family. It has me scared for the 14 families that count on me to make sure that they have a living. So I really hope that somehow we can slow it down a little bit and just put a little bit more thought into where we're going and what we're doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Council. Kelly Martin, 207G, Eureka. First of all, I want to say that me and my family have been supporting the homeless shelter in this city for over 50 years. I've housed them. We've had to set up housing plans for them, recruits from the program. We've also supported them in all different kinds of stuff. Besides work, we've employed them. So we have a heart for the down and out of our town here. I represent about 80 tenants and businesses in downtown, which this is around roughly a quarter mile from the heart of Old Town. It's about a 2-minute walk and probably a 1.5-minute bike ride from this site to anywhere in Old Town. As I see it, we're going to bring all the past crimes that have happened down in the Devil's Playground, which are serious crimes, into downtown. They're not going to stop doing the crimes just because they moved a couple miles away. The path from the shelter is going to be going down Commercial, 4th, and then taking a left at Nielsen's and heading down to the social services. So that's going to be our parade of them going down there for services. So it's going to be great advertising for those 50,000 cars a day that go by. I think the trade for an 8-foot piece of asphalt for a trail there's a big difference between the businesses that pay hundreds of thousands of dollars in bed taxes and taxes in downtown area. As was said before, it's a gateway to our waterfront. It's not a good place because of that reason alone. It's also the Walmart was the highest crime store in the nation, is what I was told by the city 2 days ago. So we're bringing all those people that have been causing those problems down there down into our business district. We got 4 cops guarding the city the other day when I was downtown, and I talking to the sergeant. We had 4 police officers guarding the city of Eureka because we had so many people leave. We had approximately 10 officers leave to go to different cities and different areas. So we obviously are not going to be able to have them guarding the camp. Also, if you got people down there 24 hours a day working there, you're going to have about 9 employees. I don't think this is an emergency. I think you should leave it right where it's at and bring the boxes down to them and put a fence around right where they're at now and try it for 6 months and see how it works. And thank you.
Good evening. I appreciate being here. My name is Beverly Wolf, and I've operated businesses in Old Town Eureka since 1992. My last one I closed 2 years ago. I recently found out that if I would like to, I can start my business again, and it was Avalon Restaurant. So as far as Avalon goes, and the things that we were able to contribute to the community, sales tax revenue, if you want to add it up, I'm sure you have access to the records. Going back to 1992 in my businesses, we did well for Eureka. Not only that, the community outreach donated my time, donated my resources, did everything that I could to assist people that needed some help because we're all part of a community. I realized that the people at Devil's Playground need some place to go, but Old Town Eureka is not it. It is not it. While I was there, just a few highlights at Avalon. My son parked his car behind Avalon. The window was broken out and his guitar was stolen. I was first on the scene. The police called me. My son said right away, you go down to St. Vincent, the rescue mission, and you look for it. I know it's there. I said, no. They run a great, and they do, a great service. The guitar's not there. He goes, trust me, it's there. Guess where it was? It was under the lunch table, behind the locked gate, and we found it. And his backpack with all of his finals, everything he needed to turn in, was scattered all around Old Town. I went and pulled his paperwork and books out of 10 different trashes. While I was there,
also at Avalon, the superintendent of schools was sitting at my bar after leaving a meeting, and a transient homeless came in off the street, pulled him off of his bar stool, and beat the hell out of him. My employees separated, pulled him off, and EPD came and got him. When we tried the next day to do a restraining order, we were told that we couldn't find out his name because he had to be protected from us. It wasn't the only time that another transient person wanted to wash my windows. I said, no, they're really okay, no problem. He went through the restaurant, trashed as much as he could, physically attacked me, and I did get a restraining order from him. All I'm just saying is I have as much compassion as the next person for homeless people. I also know that a lot of them, it is by choice, and there are alternatives.
Thank you.
Thank you. One more thing is, I have the opportunity to put my business back down there. I got called an hour and a half ago about this meeting. I have to think about, is that really going to be a good idea? Thank you.
Let's see.
Hi, my name is Kendall Martin. I'm at 4058 Campton. So my family owns a lot of property around 3rd and Commercial area, and I've been working down there for my dad painting stuff since I was probably like 9. And now my little sister can't go down there and do that because now we're going to have to be concerned for her safety, and someone's going to have to be down there with her doing that. And we won't be able to have other workers down there doing that because then it's going to be a liability to my family for our workers' safety. So if the people of the Palco Marsh are a liability for the trail, then doesn't mean that they're a liability to bring into the city too. If people are scared or afraid to go out to the marsh now, then won't moving the homeless to the city make people more afraid to go downtown at, let's say Arts Alive or for the 4th of July festival? And how is this fair to property owners in this area who have worked for years for their property and to pay their property taxes, and this is going to further devalue that area? Landlords in this area are already constantly being called by tenants to come down and deal with break-ins or harassment or fires being started on the loading docks from cold homeless people. The homeless people already congregate in this area, and bringing more of them there is just going to make it worse. This will further and quickly and drastically reduce their property values and make it 100% harder for them to find tenants, when it's already hard enough to find tenants to keep the spaces filled in Eureka. Plaza Design has been empty for over a year. All the mall spaces are becoming empty. 4th Street has countless empty warehouses, and K&M Glass is also empty right now. Many of these properties around this area are already on Prop 8s, which is a temporary reduction in taxes because the property is now worth less than what the owner paid for it. With this homeless shelter added to the area, I'd personally have my property reappraised and get my taxes lowered further. I can't even believe that this is an option to bring all these homeless people and sex offenders off the Palco Marsh and right into downtown, when if anyone has talked to any of the homeless people out there, many of them don't want to come to the containers anyways. And on top of that, put them directly across the street from a gymnastics and a dance gym. That just makes it harder for businesses to thrive in this area when it's already hard enough to begin with. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
I am a private citizen tonight. So I am not speaking on behalf of anybody but myself. And I'm going to do a Janelle Ager. I just wanted to say that since 1987, I have worked in Eureka. And I know that this is a very difficult decision that the council is facing, and I applaud the council and I applaud the city staff for looking at this. I think the clearest message that you can hear now is we've obviously got problems with homeless people. We obviously are going to have a bigger problem We have a private sector business that has stepped up to be a part of a solution. And I realize that the communication was lacking, but that's because it happened within a 3-week period of time. And so I know what it's like to get on board with something that seems really exciting, and then the most important thing can slip through the cracks. I would really like the city council to consider this, because what is going to happen is everything that the businesses and the property owners are concerned about now are going to multiply come the 2nd of May. And I think that what people are forgetting is that this is one of several options come the 2nd of May. So I just wanted to speak as an individual to say that the concerns that are going on now and the issues that are going to go on now will be even worse on the 2nd of May. And the opportunity to address those issues and be a part of a solution is what I think needs to be considered. And it's a fear factor, and trust me, I have always been told, choose the sword you fall on, and I chose tonight to be the sword to fall on. But I really feel that we can't always come from a fear aspect. And at some point, when the city wants proposals and a private sector steps up, and we know that Betty Chin is a very workable partner, as well as the Eureka Rescue Mission, I would just please ask the council to consider that, and I would ask the people in the community to remember that it will be worse without a solution, and this is a component of that solution. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi there. My name's Charles Carlson. I live, work, and pay taxes in Eureka. I work in Old Town. I think I'd like to start off by saying I believe the first gentleman that spoke drove a stake into the heart of this proposal. Everybody else has mostly been kicking it, if we're speaking symbolically. I think the idea of having the container idea, I think, is a great idea, but I would just like to reinforce the Old Town business community's perspective that this is the wrong place. There's a lot of places, around here where, I mean, we've got the old mill sites, we've got the spot on Coaster in Washington, maybe the golf course out in Cutton. There are a lot of places where we can set up a community like this, if you want to call it a community. Most of the folks are suffering from serious issues with, social issues. The root in my problem, in my opinion, is that most of these people are crazy, to put it mildly, and they can't take care of themselves, and they need a controlled environment. But I would request that the city find another place for this. I would also request that the city recognizes that while we're shouldering a large burden for the homeless and some of the incorrigible aspects of the people without homes, it's a county and a state problem, and if we could bring as much of the county into the solution as possible, I think that would be one way that we really need to take care of this. There's the old Simpson place. It's in between Arcata and Eureka. There's a KOA campground. There are lots of places, but I believe this place right here, 3rd and I guess the West 3rd Street, is just the wrong place for it. But I really do appreciate everybody who cares. And so please vote against that location. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Brian Baku. I've been a citizen of Eureka for 58 years. In 1974, as a senior in high school, I opened a bicycle shop on 2nd Street in Old Town Eureka between C and D, which I ran for 2 years. That was just about the time that Housing and Urban Development had granted some funding to beautify the Old Town area, and it took 10 to 15 years before that actually stuck. And we got to see businesses that came into the area were able to make it instead of having rapid turnover. After that, I opened a business on the corner of 4th and A Street in Eureka. Was there for 6 years, and that was from 1995 to 2000. I got to watch the neighborhood deteriorate from there. I currently work on the corner of 2nd and Commercial Street, diagonally across from where the shelter is being placed. And I have to tell you, the deterioration of the neighborhood, the crime rate, the vandalism is doing nothing but increasing. And I also reside about 2 blocks from Cooper Gulch. When I moved into that house, the police told me they were afraid to go down to Cooper Gulch because of the homeless encampments, the crime, and the drug abuse down there. And I'm afraid we're going to have the same problem in Old Town unless we vote against this. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tom Ginter, and to let you know where I, excuse me, stand on this, I'll tell you my address. It's 3rd and Commercial. I just lost a tenant about 2 months ago. I'm looking for a new tenant. The straw that broke the camel's back for him was when he went out on the front porch and found human excrement that he had to clean up. Like the rest of the folks in the area, I've dealt with graffiti, needles in the lawn, garbage, you name it. Folks sleep on the front porch. I applaud your efforts to find a new location for these folks. I applaud Betty's efforts. But I just have to say I'm against this location. It's just not the right fit. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi there. My name's Dennis Knappik. I have a business on 4th Street between A and Commercial. I have a dining facility directly behind me. And I want to give you a perspective on the negative side of the homeless situation there. I sweep my front slab daily, and it's always fast food wrappers, cigarette butts, and most recently, sun-baked human waste. And how to get that off the slab with a shovel, flat shovel, and then what do you do with it? You got to flush it as best you can. That's a chore I don't relish doing again, trust me. But I wish we would reconsider the location of this encampment. I think Betty Chin is a wonderful person, but maybe she needs to think about maybe another location. That's all I had to say.
Thank you.
Hi, my name's Joe Marsh. My family own and have a property and business, 91 Commercial Street, Barfly Pub and Grub. We're opposed against this. We have been fighting problems associated with homelessness for the last 4 years. We're calling all the time, hypodermic needles, fights, defecation, urination. It's an ongoing problem. It's almost an RV park down there. We're just bringing more problems into the city. I'd actually rather see the homeless the food bank and the other shelter moved, get it out of the city business area altogether, You're adding more problems to that area. You're going to put a cancer in the middle of the city. It's going to eat its way out. I'd rather see it on the outskirts of the city. That's not affecting a tax base for the city itself. We're pretty much ready to leave. Other businesses don't want this, and you're going to lose a majority of businesses down there by putting more problems down there rather than solving the problem. So, thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Hi, my name's David Mulhern. I represent tenants that I have down there. They've been categorically opposed to the location of the homeless shelter. Like you've heard tonight, everybody's has compassion for the homeless, and shelter for the homeless is desperately needed. The concentration of so many in one specific commercial area is problematic. Perhaps a more diffuse location, smaller groups, less concentrated in the area. I've had tenants and properties down there for a little while now. It's a growing area. Very lucky to have Dick Taylor Chocolates just moved in. Wonderful business, real exciting growth potential, bringing in a lot of tourists into that area. I did a project on 4th Street, the low-height building, the dilapidated building, brought it back to life. It's coming along very nicely. Still needs some occupancy, but mostly occupied now. I just want to add my voice to what you've heard tonight about the location and the concentration. I think there could be a better solution at a different location. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hi, Brandy Wilson. I have a couple of things. One is you adopted the Housing First plan, and in that it states do not disrupt any camps that are already existing. And I was wondering how the 30 and 60 was going, housing 30 people in 60 days. I know that we have a number of consumers that have been on a waiting list for well over 5 weeks now to get into housing. So I'm a little concerned about our consumers when Betty Chin has amazing programs for when you're ready for Betty Chin's programs. The majority of the people that we work with are not ready for Betty Chin's programs. And so I'm worried about where everyone else is going to go. And, you know, someone was talking about public health earlier. Right now, we can provide services to a large amount of people with specific needs that need to be met so that public health crisis does not increase, because we already are broaching on one. Since you've given the out date, the substance use has skyrocketed. We've had lots of issues regarding meth. However, we have had 13 reversals in the marsh since the out date was given, and it has been stated to us numerous times that I'm just going to use till I die here because they don't care. So for us, we're seeing huge amounts of possible public health issues. We're seeing huge amounts of increased substance use. And that's very worrisome, because if I'm telling you this now and it happens later, you can't say it was an unintended consequence because you were told, so it's intended from this point on. And I definitely do hope that the research on how to make these containers inhabitable was thorough and good. I've done mine, and I know that it takes a substantial amount of money to insulate and vent them and make them habitable. And that was in Portland. So our weather isn't much different, but if not done right, you will make them freezers in the winter and ovens in the summer, and we're coming to a really hot summer. I am glad people are coming up with an idea. It does feel like it kind of went through real quietly and fast, with not a lot of community input, which is interesting. I'm concerned for the people after the 40. I'm concerned for how that cherry picking is going to happen. And I'm concerned for the people that are going to be left and where they're going to go. Coster Street's not a viable option. Who wants to pack up their tent every day? Every day. That's not humane.
That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
You had you had two anonymous speakers from Fortuna tonight. That's wonderful. I share a lot of the concerns that have been expressed in terms of process. I understand of the fear that people express. I've had a knife pulled on me. I've had a gun pulled on me. I've had people follow me. I've had my car broken in. All these things. I don't know. I'm unlucky, I guess, but I understand that these are difficult things to have happen to you. But I also understand that the people that are living in the marsh have difficult things happening to them every day also, and that there needs to be a solution found. I want to speak to the people in Old Town and just remind them that historically, Old Town was full of bars and brothels. There may be some people that are hanging out in Old Town that have been there a really long time and remember the day. The current homeless that is in Old Town are not the people that are in the marsh. They're all different people, all different people. And one of the things that I'm not afraid of going into the marsh, people. I'm not afraid of going back and talking to the people in the marsh. And one of the things that is there is hopelessness and a feeling of nothing is going to work for me and everybody hates me. And that we have the opportunity to do something different. And the homeless that are hanging out on the sidewalk across from St. Vinny's might see hope if people from the marsh move out into a place. They might actually see some hope because the word will get out. Word is getting out now that you are finding housing for people. I'd like to say that it's not a homeless problem. It's a housing problem. This is one legal place that people could call home for a short period of time. I agree that maybe delaying the start of the trail might be a good idea to allow a real solution to be found. And I also agree that there may be an alternate site if you can't cite it where Betty has found. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi guys, Jamie with the other side of the fence. I'd like to say that I understand everybody's fear. The first discriminations against people were against homeless people. We have been depicted as criminals since discrimination has existed. However, painting everyone with the broad stroke of judgment is damning. Everybody that lives down in the marsh is not drug-addicted criminals. There's 70-year-old ladies down there that
Excuse me.
There's 70-year-old ladies down there that have had their husband taken away and are living in a nursing home, and the lady cannot afford to pay for housing in this community. There's at least 6 ladies down there in their 70s that are living out there by themselves with their dog as their only companion. These ladies are terrified every day, and havoc is being wreaked on them. They have no place to go and no hope, and this community is turning against them, calling them drug addicts and criminals. The people down in the marsh, there's a large variety of people, as has been pointed out tonight. However, the cost of mist, the cost of all the time that the officers spent walking around down there could have been put into AHA's efforts to effect the change that's needed for these people. Can you please put your trail on hold and back AHA, who has a very well thought out plan that they have been working on for years? I really appreciate Betty and Hum CPR's efforts to jump forward when it appears that you guys have done everything you could to obstruct an organization that is dedicated on fixing the problem of no affordable housing alternatives in this community. You've chosen a Band-Aid you've chosen a Band-Aid and have deceived the community to do it. Your RFP, you guys just skipped all over it. You put crazy restrictions on AHA disallowing them to put forth their plan and have skipped all of those to allow another organization to do this, bypassing a grant process cycle in the process. Band-Aids wear off and the open wounds of homelessness will be here in 6 months. The problems that I've heard today, which are a small number of homeless people engaging in excrement, trashing, sleeping around town, those people are still here and they're still going to be here. No matter what location is chosen, nobody's going to be happy. The deterioration of this community is due to landlords not investing in their properties, but hoarding the exuberant rent that they collect on the properties, leaving them vacant and too run down. The people in this community need something better than the Band-Aid and being forced into the hopeless, scared animals that are cornered that they are right now, waiting to lash out. They need you, they need AHA and affordable homeless housing alternatives. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mike Kearse of Eureka. I think the lady that just talked just a moment ago talks about these old ladies down in the farm. Maybe she should take them home and put them in her home, something like that. Because by opening up the situation we're talking about at the Pelican Marsh is like opening Pandora's box, which are creating more problems. Half the panhandlers down on Broadway, which Broadway is 101, that's illegal to panhandle on by the state law. Those people down there with the little sign says, I'm an injured Navy person. You ask him a question, what was his E grade? He doesn't even know what that means. E grade is enlisted rank. Everybody knows your enlisted rank. So half the time that you see them panhandling for different reasons, they're lying. They're lying to the people. So if they're lying about that, what else are they lying about? If Betty takes them in, they're not going to tell the truth to Betty. They're going to be doing what they've been doing, conning Eureka. And the more money we have to spend on them, that's more money that does not take the place of repairing our streets in Eureka. Potholes everywhere. Maybe we should have a homeless pothole thing where maybe some of these volunteers can go down and patch our holes. These people who are panhandlers and homeless and stuff, 90% of them are lying. Maybe the big thing should be ask them where they're from, give them bus fare, and ship them home. That would solve all the problems in Eureka. I bring German friends here to visit Eureka and Humboldt County, and when they leave, they're kind of disgusted with what they see. We attract tourists to come here, and the homeless people say to them, well, you got a dime or a nickel? And then the people that came here to visit don't want to come back again because they don't like the problems that you have created or continue to create in Eureka. By putting them in where Betty's talking about is a bad idea. You're opening up Pandora's box, more crime, more panhandling, more people pooping on the streets. Maybe they should come and poop in your yard, and then you'll find out. But the point is, we have to stop this panhandling. We have to take care of these people. Of course we have to take care of them. But let's find out where they're from and send them home. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any more public comment? All right.
Good evening. Long evening. Thanks for putting up with it all. I'd just like to say that I think a lot of these people are home, sadly. This is their home. This is where they originated. They're out there. I go out there a lot. There are people out there that my son went to elementary school with, and he's 37 years old, and they've been out there for a couple of decades. And this is not something that's new. I mean, the police have known that people have been there. They've condoned that they were there because they'd rather have them there than on the street somewhere, and that's not new. The population has grown a lot in the last couple of years because we've had a policy to sort of concentrate people there. You all know I'm an advocate for AHA and affordable homeless housing alternatives. We have lots of ideas, lots of alternatives, and these Connex boxes are an alternative. They really are. You see them probably on the internet or Facebook or something. They use them in Japan for housing for students and a whole bunch of other places. So they're viable. They work. But what I hear people saying tonight is the location's not viable. Although there's some very important things about it. There are key elements that have to happen. They have to be on transportation lines. They have to have water. They have to have electricity. They have to be close to services. Those things are really important. And as a sociologist, I can tell you that most of the time cities try to put their social problems in an area where there's already high social problems so they won't be visible. But people are bringing to your attention that there are things that you're going to need to be concerned about because they aren't going to go away and some things will be compounded. I think probably I have to agree that the process is a little shaky. That all happened and we were all kind of shaking our heads going, wait a minute, we have a process going on here, and that's okay. I'm really happy to see private enterprise step up and do something because I'd love to see private enterprise help AHA do what AHA wants to do too, as much as anybody. And so I think that maybe thinking through about how this can happen, maybe it's viable for some folks. I've heard people talk about it. I've got 2 telephone calls last night asking me, well, how do you get in touch with people who want to do that or who want to live there? And I didn't know what to tell them because this hasn't happened yet. But I think you shouldn't trash the idea of it happening. I just think maybe it needs to be thought through. And I'm an advocate for keeping people in the marsh until we know a better place to go because they don't have any place to go. And I'm not the only one that feels that way. As you know, a large part of the community does, and some of our publicly entrusted bodies do as well, including the Human Rights Commission. So good luck with that, and I support your deliberations. Let's just do a lot of different options, and one of them be something that we can do.
Thank you. There are no more public comment. I have a request for a short break. So 10-minute break, come back at 8:25.